Thank you so much for joining me today, Bhuvanesh. I really appreciate it. Yeah, for everyone listening, this is Bhuvanesh Omkar, who is the project manager at Rhibus, and he's been looking after us over the last few months in relation to building our MVP. And we've recently launched the MVP, and we're really pleased with how it's looking and the key features and the functions that the Rhibus team have been able to pull together for us. So it's a huge milestone. And Bhuvanesh, I really want to say that you've been a big part of the journey, and I've really, both Camilla and I have really appreciated working with you. So this session really is just I guess, get some candid feedback, from your perspective about what it's like to work with non-technical founders, but it's also something that we want to share more widely with our community, because we know we're not the only ones out there facing similar challenges, both not really understanding coding or the coding environment. And, there are nuances there that, and particularly a huge education piece from our perspective. So, so please, I know it might be a bit tricky, but please feel free that you can be absolutely honest on here. Okay. So from your perspective, Bhuvanesh, I mean, given your experience with us, not just with us, but perhaps with others as well, what have been the biggest challenges in terms of working with non-technical founders?
Okay. Thank you for this interview process or whatever it is. I'm really excited to talk to you about all these things. One thing, I think you should not call yourself as a non-technical founders or something like that, because throughout this journey, I never ever felt that you were kind of non-technical. You had enough knowledge what was required in terms of a system, in terms of coming up with your dreams and making it to a reality system or something like that. You had all those required technical knowledge, which was very much required for the project. That was with you and Camilla. Okay, so that's the reason why I never thought like you both were kind of non-technical or something like that. Only thing is like you didn't know how to sit and code or something like that. You didn't know how to set the servers or configure the servers or something like that. But apart from that, you knew everything. Like you knew what you really wanted and what are the things that will help to bring out your dream into reality. Those things and all, you really had a very clear-cut vision in your mind. So just don't call yourself non-technical. So it's a very it's a very wrong word. Okay, fine.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh.
Coming to the challenges in terms of with the non-technical, is the so-called non-technical, what you're telling, there were a few challenges. Okay, I don't call it as bigger challenges because it's a part and parcel of the product development and all those things. But one thing what I was feeling was there was a difficulty in understanding the difference between the MVP and the full-fledged project. Okay, there is always a difference. There is always a limitations of MVP in compared with the full-fledged project. Okay, so there was kind of some small confusion, or how much requirement has to be absorbed, how much has to be stopped, and how to prioritize the requirements and all those things. So these kind of challenges I faced during the initial time. Like during first I can say 2 or 3 sprints, there was this kind of challenges were there. So this was one of the challenges. There was no clear-cut differentiation which you envision in terms of MVP and the full-fledged project. The second challenge was like and understanding the size of the requirement. Okay, you had a requirement, you knew that you wanted this and all, but there's always a size associated with the requirement because it involves effort, it involves the cost, it involves the time and all those things and all. So there, like we face little bit of challenge, like to communicate to you how much it would take, how much time it would take, how much effort it would take. So that communication, well, it was a bit of challenging the initial time. That, but as and when the project progressed and you were also able to appreciate the volume of the work, and you also started maintaining the Trello, and you were very flexible enough to move the backlog items, prioritize the things and all. It went on well, but I'm just talking about the initial stages, the kind of
Mm.
challenges and all. And the third thing, like what normally happens with the so-called non-technical founders like you or somebody else, like the change request. Okay, we develop something.
I have
We
to laugh
develop
on that one,
something.
Bhuvanesh, the change request. Because okay, I'll let you finish, but carry on. Yeah.
Okay, because we develop something and we will be proceeding with one kind of flow or the understanding, you know,
Mm.
suddenly something will come. No, this has to go this way. And it's not
Yes.
only the UI changes only happens. It will be a lot of effect like in the back end also, like in terms
Yeah.
of servers, in terms of database, in terms of writing the APIs and all those things. Everything will be a change. It's not just a visual change, just take out
Yeah.
this button and put this button or something, not like that. So there we certain places we face the challenges there, but we adjust it. One simple example I can tell you is it may sound very simple for you, but it was a kind of lot of changes behind for us.
Oh
We change the
yeah.
investor name to a beta. For you, it's
Yeah.
just the name of change of the name to a beta. Okay, but for us, we have to maintain the database in the beta name only. We can't just keep the older name investor, because when this project goes to somebody's hand, or when somebody else will start looking into database or API in the future, they may wonder what is this investor. We are looking
Mm.
at the beta in the front end, and we are talking about beta in the front end, but what is there something you have written the code as invest and all. So we need to go back to the code, refactor certain things and all, ensure that after refactoring everything is working fine. So those things and all. So like these are the three things,
Ah,
major things I can
I
identify as challenges.
I can totally see it, because I think it's so hard to understand, to fully appreciate how much effort goes into making changes. And like you say, like we only see it at the front end, we only see it in the user interface, and we want it to go from here to here. Or we've picked up, oh, we want to change this terminology, like the from investor to beta. And yeah, I mean, it is really tricky, isn't it? I
Right.
mean, how do you I mean, I felt that you and the team were incredibly patient on that regard. Um, and when does a change request become scope creep from your perspective?
Uh, See, we have a timeline. Okay, we
Mm.
have a specific plan or something like that. Okay, and if something is not fitting into it, okay, you come with a uh, um, change request, and if we feel we can accommodate it, then it can't be a scope creep. Okay,
Mm.
but when the change request is too much and we can't complete the whole picture, we can't complete the whole whatever that we have planned and all, then that will become a scope creep. Okay,
Mm.
then we need to raise the flag and we can have to tell you, no, sorry, if this has to be done, if this has to be accommodated, this has to be eliminated. So I think you experienced that one, like when we went on with the sprint to sprint, sprint to sprint, we removed certain things and we added certain things, you know.
Yeah,
That's how it evolved, right? Like it's
yeah,
like it was like a learning experience for both of us, like which we wanted to keep it. From our perspective, we wanted to stick to the plan, stick to the budget, and stick to the timeline and all those things, you know. But from your perspective, it's kind of priorities, like you wanted this one first and this one next and all those things. So through the meetings and through the discussions over the sprint by sprint, we came to the certain agreements and we came to the understanding with each other, and we were able to come to this stage of the project. I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
would say that one of the hardest things for both Camilla and I was, because it took, when you're building something,
Mhm.
um, things don't stop, so you're building based on a brief that we gave you back in, I think it was back in December of this year or November of last year, even like December of last year or November of last year. We didn't actually start building, I don't think, until like maybe March, April time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was April. And
Mhm.
so in between November and then April, and then from April until now, like during the actual build, our thinking evolves,
Right.
because we've had various conversations with people, we've done a lot more research, and so actually what we initially briefed Rhibus on,
Mhm.
our thinking around what BETA100 was going to look like, or what we wanted to deliver, shifted. I mean,
Right.
that's kind of hard, isn't it? I mean, it's hard as a founder, but obviously hard for Rhibus or you as a project manager, managing our expectations, knowing that there's this tension between building what we've agreed and also realizing as well, which I guess is the benefit of an agile environment, is that things shift, things change. And that's one thing I think that we really appreciated, was that we felt that Rhibus really was able to roll with us a little bit. You accepted that there was going to be a degree of change.
That's
That was our sense. I mean, how did it feel from your perspective?
Yeah, when I jumped into this project, like which time I jumped in, and like a lot of things had happened in the past, and I was given
Mm.
this plate in the thing, like these are the things, and you're the captain of the ship, and you're supposed to do it. So when I looked into the proposal, and when I looked into the actual requirement, what was drawn in the proposal, it was not very very clear. Like it was like, on a very high level, like you just wanted, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. But as a project manager with my past experience and all, like if I want to take up something, it's for me, it's very important to sit with the client and talk to them, understand the requirement with to the very detailed level. Okay, and not at the first initial discussion, like I know it's a proposal building time, we can't get into the very detailed level and all, but still to understand what exactly is there in their mind. Okay, because ultimately that will get transformed into the effort, time, budget, everything and all. So it's very important for me to understand from the requirement perspective what exactly you people wanted. So that's the reason when I took this assignment, I immediately assigned the business analyst to get into the discussion with you, and we went to that use case documentation and all those
Mm.
things.
I
You
remember
remember?
that.
So and
Yeah.
then matching with your designer the UI things, and see where is the loopholes or where is the mismatch with the with your requirement and with the design and all those things. So that's the reason first I employed that particular strategy to jump into the requirement, understand very clearly what exactly wanted to do, and document it. Okay, once it gets
Mm.
documented, so we will be driven by that particular use case document. So that's the reason, like initial days were much more concentrated on the requirement gathering and all those things and all. So
Mm.
one other thing, like in terms of, like there was one more question which I think without you asking only, I'll be answering that particular
Yeah.
question. Since as a team we involved with Beta and we started working with you, right? Like there was something called like involving the whole team into the discussion. Remember, like initially and all. So what happens is during the any project discussion, we should only make sure that only the business analyst and the client should be involved with the requirement gathering. Okay, you should not be worrying about the technical challenges. Okay, you should be very clear in your mind what you need. You should not think whether it is possible, whether that can be done, whether there is some challenges, whether this tool is available or not. All those things shouldn't be never thinking. You should just come out with your requirement. Look, this is what is there in my mind. This is what I want. As a founder, I need this. As a beta, I need this. See, I saw somewhere something similar to this one. I want you guys to make it. So make a requirement, make a use cases and all.
Mm,
Then it has to be given to the team who is that business analyst, whatever the document use cases, whatever he prepares, right? That has to be given to the team, and the team will analyze. Looking at that one, they will come up with the challenges. No, this can't be done. Yes, this can be done with a different way approach and all. So that is then that time when the client can talk to the technical team and understand why it is not possible, what are the challenges. Should
mm,
we go to for a make or should we go for a buy? And if you go for a buy, all those will be your decisions, like what is the cost impact and all those things. So
mm,
my initial, I mean, my suggestion would be like whenever you get into the with the talk with the business analyst, just talk with first with the business analyst and make the requirement very clear, understand the minute levels of the requirement, various options, and that is the first thing. Second important thing is to prioritize your requirement. Okay,
mm.
make a requirement in such a bits and pieces, like very small manageable requirements, and put a priority there. You want this now or next? You want this now or next? But without this, we can go ahead. So make which are the critical requirements and make which are the optional requirements. For
Mm,
example, if you go for a login, we had a lot of ways to validate the logins and all those things, right? Then we stick down to the very few like OTP kind of things, validation, those kind of things, right? So if we dig deep, there are a lot of other things, but that has to be a optional. When the system grows, we can bring in.
yeah,
So
I
those
think
kind
that's
of
the key.
prioritization.
I think that's kind of the key as well, isn't it? It's kind of understanding what's good enough right now for us to deliver
Right.
as an
Yes.
MVP, and what do we want to put on the backlog, which is all about how we can improve.
Right.
But we accept where we are right now and we
Mhm.
move on to the next thing. And I think that, yes, I mean, I can hand on heart say there were moments there when we wanted more perfection than
Mhm.
just settling or saying, okay, that's enough. Let's just accept it for what it is,
Correct.
and then move on. So in relation to in relation to your experience with us, what has
Mhm.
been your biggest learning, like in terms of working with us?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest learning, I always answer this question. I mean, I'll answer this question keeping you and Camilla in mind. Okay, it's not the non-technical founder or something. The first and foremost is passionate about the work. You both were so passionate about your work, and I could see your initial like outputs, like in terms of Figma, in terms of the clear cut understanding of what exactly you wanted and all those things. That's the passion, when somebody is of that passion, they create an aura. When you sit and talk to them, you get a lot of inspiration, okay, about whatever work you are doing. The way what work you are doing is entirely different from what I am doing, but the passionate about the work, that whole thing, that is the inspiration. That's what I'll just take it from you both, because it's
Oh,
really inspired me a lot. And the second thing what I observed was a convincing power. You both had such a great convincing power. I really don't know. I never,
well,
I
you
never
were very
even,
persuasive or
I
pushy.
never, I was just thinking how to say no to this one. I was just thinking how to say no to this one. And all. But you always had a valid reasons, valid things, and also that I never made a, I could not say no to you guys for any of the task or whatever. That's a convincing, but that should be there, because as a project manager, I should have a convincing power with my team. I should convince my team to work on certain things and make them come on holidays or whatever it is, and just spend 10 to 15 minutes and just complete. That's what comes under the convincing power. That's all. It's how you build up your relationship with your team members. So that is the second thing. The third thing, what I really, it's not a learning for me, but I really want to appreciate also with you guys were super in terms of process, like whatever the limited tools you had worked with, like Trello or the Figma or whatever it is, probably you might be working with a few, like you might have used it for 2 or 3 times or something like that. I really don't know. Okay, but your output was exceptional. You were behaving like as if you're professional in those tools, and you know what is what, and how, what should happen after this, and what is the next things, and all. I mean, in terms of process, you have very clear cut understanding of the process. That's really good actually. So if anybody like want to gel with any digital solutions team or something, if yourself is a process oriented, then there'll be a vibe created with that particular company, and then everything will move on smooth. So that was really, I want to appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Bhuvanesh. I would say that Camilla had a huge hand in the whole design element, and she's a whiz on Figma. And obviously we were working with Eric as well, who helped us enormously on pulling that design together. But that's great. Thank you for that feedback. And, when we turn to your team, because obviously, you're leading your team, I mean, what are you most proud of in terms of your team's deliverables, Bhuvanesh?
The first and foremost thing is their energy level. It never dropped, like throughout the project. Okay. I think only the last week of this one, you were not able to see the kind of output what we are trying to give you, because it's festival season, that lot of things are not happening. But initially, from the starting of the project, okay, till the end of the project, their energy level did not drop at all. Okay, probably the motivation thing was the project itself. Okay, the kind of features it had, the kind of third-party integrations it had, and all that very project itself was very motivating for them. So that I can tell you. Okay, so that's also one of the reasons why their energy level did not drop. Okay, so that I want to appreciate my team actually. So that was one of the major success element, because they never allowed their energy level to drop.
So important.
And also in between, like you were very personal, and in terms of appreciating them, taking out their name in any of the meetings and all, that really made them feel valuable. Okay, like you remember, like you used to, whenever you used to be in a call, and you used to give your honest appreciation to the team and all, that really had a impact actually to them. Okay, so thanks for that one. Okay, that's a really we really appreciate that one.
Oh, no, that's great. Yeah, I mean, we did get the sense that the team were working very hard, and we still do, because I know that, you are, and Rhibus team at Rhibus are still working with us at the moment on getting the last few things done. And, at the end of the day, you can't build anything without a team, right? Which is why while we're creating a BETA100 to help people who start out without a team find one. So yeah. Okay, well, I guess our time is nearly up, and so I'm wondering, are there any last thoughts you'd like to share, Bhuvanesh?
The last thoughts were like for me, as a Rhibus, okay, as a Rhibus, I want to talk like we were able to refine and redefine our process. Okay, the experience with Beta really helped us to go and make certain corrections in our processes and all, and how to deal with the so-called non-technical, what you are telling and all, and prioritize our tasks in such a way that it will suit them and they will be able to appreciate on all those things. So what we did was, like, after this project and all, we came back, and we not in that we came back and did something like that. And it's an ongoing process. Like, we redefined our process, certain things, certain tasks, and we refined certain the way we talk to the customers and all those things and all. We changed the things and all that really helped us. So that's what the in term that comes under the communication part. So our communication strategy changed a bit based on the experience with BETA100. So I'm really thankful for you guys for that one.
Well, I mean, there's learnings all the way, aren't there? There's learnings all the way. But listen, Bhuvanesh, thank you so much. I mean, for everything that you, the team, and Rhibus have done and are doing for us. I mean, I kind of am hoping and expecting, I guess, anticipating maybe that the relationship will continue in one shape or another. And certainly, I feel like, I have built a new friendship, having worked so closely with you, especially through this project. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
It's brilliant.
And my regards to Camilla.
I will do. Yes, I'm sure. She gives her regards to you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.